Happy Wednesday, television family. Smack dab in the middle of the week, almost smack dab in the middle of the month. We're just 1 week from the winter solstice. It's 1 week from today. I believe it's in the afternoon hours, like that means anything. But winter is almost here. Yeah, right. It's snowing lightly in downtown Wenatchee. Has been for about 90 minutes or so. This was not in the forecast. There was some light snow in the forecast, but that was relegated to basically out in the Columbia Basin. They were thinking Moses Lake and Ritzville and Freda could get a little bit of light snow today, but the weak system that's coming through kind of stalled a little bit over the Wenatchee Valley, which is why we're having some light snow. It's already began to taper off. In fact, we're supposed to see some sunshine a little bit later on, but the forecast is holding fairly true into the weekend, a gradual cooling trend until it's going to get downright cold by the weekend. And then now things are getting a little uncertain. The National Weather Service deals with all kinds of different computer models, and some of them are from Canada and other places as well, and they're trying to get it all together. The forecast for the middle part of next week, they really don't know yet, but we could be in for another significant snowfall. They know there's some Arctic air going to come in the middle of next week. The question is if it is going to come in and settle, which means no snow, or if it's going to come in and then stop and not continue to move south. And if it does, we could be in for some snow. They just don't know yet. We'll have more on that by the time we get to the weekend. In the meantime, it's going to be a fairly wintry weather forecast, which is coming up. Plus, we got the news. Sports, Wenatchee Wild, 3 in a row. Took care of the Vipers last night at the Town Toyota Center. We'll have highlights of that. Seattle Kraken are struggling on the road trip. Big comeback for the Washington Huskies, plus prep results. And, of course, the Seahawks getting ready to take on the 40-Winers tomorrow night at Lumen Field. Everything else you need to get your day going. And we had a great conversation a couple of days ago. Anna Johnson came down. She's part of the Behavioral Health Unit that's affiliated now with the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. These are the folks who go out with law enforcement and help people who are in mental distress, issues like that. It's been a really good program. It's going great guns. It's a much needed program. We're going to get an update from the Behavioral Health Unit with Anna Johnson to the back half of the program. You don't want to miss that. Trust me on that. It's about 3 minutes after the hour, snowing lightly, 25 degrees. Let's see what we got out there. If this is the same view that we saw about a few minutes ago, look at that. That's, of course, from the Wenatchee Heights camera. Look at that strange glob of gunk over there in East Wenatchee. That's interesting. I don't know really what to make of that. Although that's a reminder, I got to call the Wenatchee Golf and Country Club and cancel my tee time for today. But there's the light snow. And again, the snow is already beginning to taper off. We will see some clouds and some fog this morning, but it should burn off this afternoon. Yesterday we topped off at 28 degrees. Sunrise this morning, 7:41. It's a ways away. Sunset tonight, 4:10, or this afternoon, if I more properly. So 8 hours and 29 minutes of daylight. And although the days are getting shorter, they're getting shorter so gradually, it's almost can't really perceive it happening. You don't really know what's happening. We're about the longest days of the year right now. In fact, sunset beginning tomorrow is going to be 1 minute later. It'll be at 4:11 tomorrow. Camera 2, I think we're off to see downtown Wenatchee. From the roof of the Cascadian, we have a couple of cameras up there. One points to the north, one points to the south. Very little traffic, as you can see. Don't even see any headlights or tail. There's a car driving out in front of the Town Square Media Building where KPQ is. Outside of that, pretty light commute. And even though we do have some light snow, it's not really sticking to the roadways. Don't expect any real problems on your morning commute. Passes are fine. No advisories or restrictions on Blewett or Snoqualmie. Traction tires are advised on Stevens. It's not snowing, we're told, on the mountain passes right now. Let's check in with Kashmir. Hello, Kashmir. Always good to see you. Not a lot happening there. Well, it's Kashmir. Good morning to Kashmir you can't really make out Kashmir, but it's there. You can kind of make out the traffic on the highway on the right-hand side of your screen, the folks heading in from the Upper Valley into the Wenatchee Valley to do their business with just, 10 more shopping days before Christmas. And speaking of Wenatchee, up to number 1 Canyon we go. Again, it's still dark. Sunrise is still quite some time off. That little strip of red lights that you see there is 5th Street, and then you can make out Wenatchee Avenue, and that's pretty much all you can make out from a camera up number 1 Canyon here in Wenatchee. As I mentioned before, the light snow was in the forecast for portions of our viewing area, but not for us. But they're still going to get a little bit of light snow. We have this slide to show for you from the National Weather Service. So basically, it's going to be relegated to the far eastern third of the state. Spokane's going to get some light snow, slightly heavier snow in the Idaho Panhandle. Moses Lake, you're going to get a little bit of snow today, maybe an inch. Ritzville, up north, maybe a little bit of snow, maybe down in the Tri-Cities and Walla Walla. Again, it's all been done here in the Wenatchee Valley. And this is an update from the slide that we showed you yesterday, which shows the cooling trend that's coming our way after this weak system slides through the area. We're going to have a weak ridge of high pressure. It's going to start building up. So that means an Arctic cold front is going to start settling into the Wenatchee Valley and all of eastern Washington. Actually, all over the state of Washington. Everybody's going to be in for below normal temperatures. In fact, well below normal temperatures. And again, the forecast for the latter half of the weekend into the middle part of next week, they don't know yet. And they do know that an Arctic cold front is either going to pass south of the area, which will bring us very cold temperatures, or it's going to stall, which will bring us cold temperatures with the possibility of snow. They don't know yet. We'll know more by this time tomorrow, I hope. From Apple Valley Honda and the National Weather Service, again, we're going to deal with clouds and fog this morning. Gradually, the sun will be making its presence felt. We'll be a couple of degrees warmer today. We'll get up to 31. We'll get a couple of degrees warmer because it's already a couple of degrees warmer than it was yesterday at this time. It's 25 outside of our studios with misty, cloudy, and light snow coming down. 18 for the overnight low tonight with some patchy fog reforming. Once again, we do it all over again on Thursday. Fog and clouds in the morning hours, sunshine in the afternoon. A little bit cooler, high of 28. And here we go. We're going down the ladder. Only 26 with quite a bit of sunshine on Friday. And then we cloud up for the weekend. And then we have a chance of snow. On Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and into Sunday, about a 30% chance of snow. If we get snow, it'll be the light, fluffy kind. Won't have a lot of water content in it. But look at the cooling trend. But as you can see, they've kind of said maybe we're going to be a little bit warmer than they were thinking. They were thinking overnight lows in the Wenatchee Valley in the single digits. Now they're saying probably not that cold, but cold enough for most folks. And starting on Saturday, a lingering chance of snow through Tuesday next week. But again, this forecast is quite flexible. The National Weather Service says there's some things out there that we can't quite pin down as far as whether we're going to get some significant snow next week. We'll know more tomorrow, I hope. 8 minutes after the hour, 1 minute break, and then your news. On this Wednesday morning, you're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Who are you talking to? I told you, knock it off!
End the cycle. Call SAGE, Safety, Advocacy, Growth, and Empowerment. Get private, anonymous counseling. Learn how SAGE can help you. Receive legal assistance and protection. SAGE also offers a safe place for you and your children. Of course, a hug from Hank always helps. SAGE can help you move on with your life. Call SAGE today.
Couple of stray snowflakes hanging around. It's cloudy, it's misty, it's foggy. It's 25 degrees outside of our studios. We'll see some sun breaks this afternoon. And Thursday, few more clouds Friday, and for a pretty cloudy and cold weekend coming up. It is 9 minutes after the hour. 2 Wenatchee Valley men are suspected in a plan to distribute thousands of fentanyl pills. There they are, 39-year-old Caleb Ryan Ritz and 36-year-old Sean James Drummond. They're arrested Friday. The charge, suspicion of drug possession with intent to deliver. The Columbia River Drug Task Force says Ritz sold fentanyl pills provided to him by Drummond. When detectives served a search warrant on Drummond's East Wenatchee residence, they allegedly found about 8,000 pills packaged for sale. Both men remain held in the Chelan County Jail. Charges, as you might imagine, are pending. Fire officials say somebody intentionally set fire to a stack of railroad ties in Wenatchee on Monday night. This is just north of downtown Wenatchee. Wenatchee firefighters responding to the fire at about 6:40 Monday night after several people reported seeing the flames. The fire near the Riverside Playhouse in the 200 block of North Wenatchee Avenue. Kay McKellar of the Wenatchee Valley Fire Department said Burlington Northern Railroad brought in some heavy machinery to break up the railroad ties before the fire was then knocked down. McKellar said a person who was seen in the area prior to the fire. Fire investigators and Wenatchee police are reviewing surveillance footage from a Chelan County PUD surveillance camera. Crews were able to clear the scene just before 8:30 on Monday night. A former orchard worker badly injured while working for Stimilk Growers is entitled to continued disability insurance 6 years after the fact. That's the ruling from the State Court of Appeals, which turned down Stimilk's request to close the industrial insurance claim filed by Rafael Beretta Garcia. Garcia fell from an orchard ladder while picking apples back in 2016 and suffered chest injuries, which put him in a coma. His doctors say he suffered continued cardiac impairment due to the fall. Now, when the State Board of Industrial Insurance Appeals ordered his claim to be closed, Garcia fought back in Benton County Court, with Stimilk arguing against reopening. Well, the appeals court ruled yesterday that he is entitled to insurance for the medications that help control his heart condition. Chelan County leaders are registering opposition to the plan to reintroduce grizzly bears into the North Cascades. Now, the county has consistently opposed suggested plans by the National Park Service and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife to repopulate the big bear in its former habitat. Chelan County Natural Resources Director Mike Caputa told county commissioners on Tuesday he's drafting a letter to federal agencies to register their concerns. The deadline is today.
I recrafted the letter to focus on some things that we've said in the past, or that you've said in the past, on grizzly bear reintroduction. One, that we have consistently, as a county, opposed the reintroduction. We've consistently expressed concern about impacts to rural communities, and I also suggested in here that the federal agencies have an obligation to coordinate with local governments, and they failed to do that.
Since the Chelan County Behavioral Health Unit was formed last year, it's grown from just one mental health professionals to 4 mental health professionals, and they're now officially part of the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. The BHU assists law enforcement in dealing with people suffering mental health issues. The program manager is Anna Johnson, and she talked with me about how her unit works hand in hand with police officers and county deputies. When you go on a call, okay, we need to bring in the BHU on this particular deal, you don't go in alone, right? You're always going in with somebody from the Chelan County Sheriff's Office just for that insurance purposes.
Yeah, if it's an initial call and we know that there's weapons, or maybe there's a history of violence, and I think that's the beauty of the partnership, is that we can access our records to see if we've had contact with an individual in the past, and we keep a summary of things that would be pertinent for us to know, such as medications providers, family supports, and the other side is the law enforcement side, and being able to see what kind of involvements, if there's anybody that is a good support person for this individual. So I think that's the beauty of having both of us in a co-response, is being able to determine, what level of safety we need to take. So yeah, for initial calls, most likely we have a law enforcement officer go with us. And then if it's deemed safe, we're able to say, hey, we're okay. Or in follow-ups, we like to have, we don't necessarily call law enforcement if we've already passed that threshold. We've also had other agencies within Washington State contact us to see what we're doing and, how do you get this started? What have you guys learned? What have been your successes, your challenges, and just trying to model something very similar to Chelan County. So I think that in itself speaks for itself. And most recently we had Athens, Clark, Georgia coming out. They came out and shouted us for a little bit and kind of had a talk session about their program and how to implement some of the things that we're doing here in Chelan County.
And my complete conversation with Anna Johnson will air in the back half of this program. We wrap things up with a friendly reminder after a couple of significant snowfalls in the Wenatchee Valley. Local fire officials remind folks to keep your hydrant clear. Dig out your hydrant. Fire officials say having clear access to a fire hydrant is vital in their efforts to save and protect properties. In fact, that's the good folks up there in Douglas County Fire District 6. That's in Mansfield. They were out doing their part on Monday night. The district said a lot of its hydrants remain buried, and fire officials are asking residents to partner with firefighters and clean out a 3-foot zone around the hydrant, so in case they need it, they can get to it. Here's hoping they don't need it. And that is the news. A quarter after the hour, we'll have another newscast for you tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. We think it's important that our viewers in the Wenatchee Valley, North Central Washington, remain informed of what's going on around you. And with the preview of tonight's news, the anchor, Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, quiet weather is expected for the rest of this week with much colder temperatures by the end of the week and into this weekend, with snow possible on Saturday. All the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, Eric Granstrom will have highlights and scores of last night's high school and college basketball games, as well as bowling and wrestling results. That and all the day's news stories coming your way tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
We appreciate it, Grant. And don't forget, if you have a news tip, we'd love to hear from you. You can get a hold of us directly any number of ways. You can email us, might be the best way to do it, news@ncwlife.com. You can pick up the telephone and give us a call at the number that you see at the bottom of your screen. You can go to our Facebook page and use the Messenger app, or go to our homepage and bookmark it, because we're constantly populating it with all kinds of cool stuff for you. And our website is ncwlife.com. When we come back, nice comeback from the Washington Huskies. We'll have highlights of the Wenatchee Wild and their victory over the Vernon Vipers yesterday afternoon. We got a lot of sports to get to, and it's only 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel. When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you're calling on 35 plus years of experience in the Wenatchee Valley. Spending extra time in your home, you may have discovered an unwanted aroma. Stinky feet, pets, who knows what. Call Dick's today about installing their Train Clean Effects electronic air cleaner or a Rheem Halo ultraviolet air purifier. Either way, the air quality in your home will be improved. Proudly servicing all of North Central Washington, call 884-6444 today.
NCW Life Channel is your home for local sports with the Wenatchee Panthers and East Mont Wildcats right here. Coverage brought to you by Abby's Pizza, BioSports Physical Therapy, Clean Connection, Coldwell Banker Cascade, Confluence Health, Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, Global Car Care, Harvest Valley Pest Control, Highlander Golf Course and Grill, Kennedy Real Estate Group, Les Schwab, Sangster Motors, Save Mart, and Together for You. Follow all the action right here on the NCW Life Channel.
18 minutes after the hour, the Huskies overcame an 18-point deficit. That's a big deficit, but they overcame it, and they pulled out a victory over Cal Poly last night at Heck Evanson Pavilion. Kean Brooks leading the way, a career-high 30 points.
Mia inside kicks it out to Brooks Jr., left open, and he nails the three.
Nice job by Braxton Mia.
Screen by Mia. Brooks Jr. lobbing it up, mistiming the jump is Mia, but he comes down with it. Three on the shot clock. Fuller lets it fly, and Fuller hits it from deep. Played better here in the second 20 minutes. Fuller in the lane, too strong. Offensive board, count it, and one.
He always does, doing a little bit of everything. Good defense by Keon Minifield that possession.
Minifield down to Mia, and he slams it home.
An open three and about a 6-footer in that 5-on-4 possession. Boy, dangerous pass by Keon Minifield.
Bajamon, floats in the air with his left hand. Oh, good hands by Jamal Bay, sends it in, trying to save it. Hunter from deep, can't roll it in, and who's there for the board? It's Keon Brooks Jr. to seal it. He finishes with 30 points.
Also last night, Eastern Washington gave Texas Tech all they could handle, but in the end, the Red Raiders came out on top, 77-70. Steel Venters, I just love that name. He led the Eagles in the loss, scored 26 points. As far as the ladies are concerned, the Eastern Washington women traveled to Seattle and kept Seattle University winless. The Eagles 66, Seattle 60. Jada Martin had 23 points to lead the Eagles. Moses Lake's Jamie Laura had 11. Seattle drops to 1-2 the Kraken do on their current road trip. They got blown out by Tampa Bay last night, 6-2, Jared McCann and Ryan Donato, the only Kraken to find the back of the net. Seattle wraps up their road trip tomorrow. At 4 o'clock, they'll be in Carolina, and you can watch that on Root Sports Northwest. But it was a better night for the Wenatchee Wild. Despite going down early 1-0 to visiting Vernon, Wenatchee came back to win 4-1 on a memorable night for Parker Murray. Austin Droddy had the call on the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.
Sent mid-slot. Wild get this one back, and they've got some open space to move. 2-on-1. Down the left wing, Somoza. Somoza across. Parker Murray, one-timer. He scores! Parker Murray ties it up. 1-1. Wild have evened this one up. Hayduk looking for point number 21 on the year. He's got 5 goals. Hayduk across. Right wing circle for Murray. Waits for a shot. He scores! Parker Murray with the shot. The Wenatchee Wild with the power play goal and the 2-1 lead. Leaves it off left point. No shot there. Horn shimmies into one. Chance save made. On top of it is Millward. Where is it? He's got it. And Sadlowski. And whoa, coming flying in is Weston. Everybody piles on. Helmet is off somewhere. A couple of gloves have come off as well. Jonathan Horn is missing a helmet. 90 seconds to play and counting. 6-on-5. Fired in. Murray, he scores! Hat trick at TTC, and here they come. Let those ones go, though. This one sent down ice. It's skittering. It's in! All the way from the other goal line. It's 4-1 Wild. Garrett Sadlowski, 180-footer. Wild win 4-1. 2 empty net goals. Each one longer distance than the last.
Wild will try to extend their 3-game winning streak. They're heading north. They'll be in Penticton on Friday. They'll drop the puck at 7, and then on Saturday at Vernon with a 6 o'clock start there. All right, to the Les Schwab Prep basketball scoreboard from last night in boys action. Davis visiting Eastmont came away with a victory, 79-65. 25 points from Amon Monahan, but unfortunately the Wildcats didn't come out on top. Ephrata edged Shadle Park in the Lilac City, 49-46. Omak over Cascade, 74-58. Quincy cashed in on Cashmere, 60-49. Chelan edged Okanagan, 73-70. Bridgeport over Oroville, 80-54. Lake Roosevelt topped Liberty Bell, 67-62. And Manson edged Elmira Cooley Heartline, England, Dan, and John Ford Coley, 52-50. A little more lopsided on the girls' side last night. Davis beating Eastmont, 84-46. Shadle Park topped Ephrata, 43-37. Okanagan clobbered Chelan, 70-25. Cashmere quieted Quincy, 72-21. Lake Roosevelt rolled over Liberty Bell, 61-10. And Elmira Cooley Heartline, too much for Manson. They win 53-15. The Wenatchee girls bowling team rolls right along, pardon the pun. Swept Moses Lake. They're undefeated. The Panthers are. They beat the Mavericks 1,856 to 1,434. Charlene Campbell led the way for the Panthers with a game-high 192. Romilly Hirsch chipped in with a 183. Prep wrestling last night. A few days was worth the wait for Wenatchee. They rolled over West Valley. I just got the score texted to me by Eric. Wenatchee 72, West Valley 3. And they don't have a running clock in wrestling. And tonight, Eastmont travels to Moses Lake to take on the Mavericks at 7 p.m. Seahawks have only 3 days to prepare for San Francisco this week. The 49ers in the Emerald City. Thursday Night Football, the Seahawks still trying to solve their problems defensively. Defensive coordinator Clint Hurtt says it's time, enough talk from defense, more action.
That's what football is. This game, as long as this game is played, it's going to be about meeting and defeating blocks and whipping a guy's ass. That's what this game is always going to be about, period, point blank, whether you're talking about defending the run or rushing the passer. So it's a mano-a-mano game. You know, sometimes certain guys will have to do a little heavy lifting and handle some double teams to buy time for other guys to scrape over the top and things of that nature. But that's what football is. When you play the run game, it's a 6-second fist fight. You're duking it out, and you got to continue to battle, understand where your responsibilities are within a gap or a stun or whatever that you have to go and cancel out. And also there's a level of unselfishness that comes in with it too. You know, to make sure that you understand what your responsibility is, do it so you understand how it's helping the guy that's playing either adjacent to you or behind you to get your job done. So Obviously it's all of those things.
I just discovered you can say whipping a guy's ass on television. I didn't know that. Seahawks and Niners kick off at Lumen Field tomorrow at 5:15. You can watch it on Amazon Prime, but if you don't have it, it'll be on broadcast TV on Q13 Fox. And there you go. And those are just some of the games people are playing on this Wednesday. I could have chosen free shipping day today. No, today is a Monkey Day. December always celebrated on December 14th. Our good friends, the monkeys. We got to raise awareness of our good friend, the monkeys. I got fun facts about monkeys. There are about 260 known species of monkeys. That's a lot. I didn't know that. Most monkeys, but not all monkeys, have tails. Monkeys are not apes. Apes and monkeys are not the same. Remember that. If you see a group of monkeys, they're known as tribes or missions. Some monkeys live on trees, up in trees. Some monkeys live on the ground and never go up into the trees. Old world monkeys live in Africa and Asia. New world monkeys live in Central and South America. And the only wild monkeys that live in Europe barely live in Europe. They live in Gibraltar. Just that tiny little toehold in Europe. Happy National Monkey Day today. It's 26 minutes after the hour. Today in history. 372 years ago today, on December 14th, 1650, Anne Green was hanged in England. Her crime, she gave birth to an illegitimate child that was stillborn. And apparently, in 1650 in England, if you're a woman who gave birth to a stillborn illegitimate child, that was a death sentence. So they hung her. And they stuck her in a coffin, and they sent her off to Oxford University to get her body dissected. The next day, the doctors showed up. They opened the coffin, and by golly, Anne Green was breathing and had a pulse. So they resuscitated her even more. She eventually fully recovered. She was given a pardon. She ended up getting married and had 3 kids. And as a giant apology, they let her keep the coffin. Anne Green. You talk about cheating death. Now that's cheating death. I wonder if the hangman got fired. That was 372 years ago today. We always do states. Happy birthday to Alabama. That's the Alabama state flag, just a big red X. Alabama, 203 years old, joined the Union as the 22nd state, December 14th, 1819. Alabama has 41 official state symbols or emblems. It's about 35 too many, if you ask me. If you like states that have fun nicknames, you're not going to find one in Alabama. They don't have an official nickname. They're one of the 4 or 5 states that have no official nickname. Most people call it the Heart of Dixie, and that's fine with me. If you've ever gone traveling and you lost your luggage and you never got it back, it probably ended up in Scottsboro, Alabama. That is where all the unclaimed travel baggage ends up. It's a massive department-sized store. It's called the Unclaimed Baggage Center. And after the airlines or the railroad or the taxi or the Uber driver, they exhaust all possible ways of getting a hold of you, or they can't find you at all, it ends up at this place where they sell it to customers. They sell it all. The Constitution requires that the state redistrict themselves every 10 years after the census comes out. Alabama didn't do this from 1901 to 1972. They didn't do it at all. The Alabama Constitution is a strange constitution. It was ratified in 1901. In Alabama, instead of simply passing laws and having them signed, basic legislation that's signed into law by the governor, they have a tendency to amend their own constitution. So their own constitution has over 850 amendments. It's 87,000 words long. It's the world's longest constitution. It's 40 times the length of the United States Constitution. All they got to do is pass legislation, but they keep amending the Constitution. Alabama is the only state in the Union where all 9 justices on the Alabama State Supreme Court are registered Republicans. Alabama has 67 counties, but only 7 of those 67 counties have home rule, where the counties themselves make up their bylaws and all that stuff. Only 7 have home rules. That means 60 of Alabama's 67 counties, their county rules are decided by the state legislature. Whatever. 111 years ago today, they found the South Pole, and I'm quoting now from Raoul Amundsen, "It's really cold." Raoul Amundsen and his team, Olaf Bachland, Helmut Hansen, Sverre Hassel, and Oscar Wissling, became the first human beings to set foot on the South Pole. They put up a little tent, they left a little note, said we did it, and they put up the Norwegian flag, and then they got out of there. We got it to the South Pole on this date 111 years ago today. And 50 years ago today, we said goodbye to the moon. Eugene Cernan, the late Eugene Cernan, so far has the honor of being the last man to ever set foot on the lunar surface. Now, we're going back to the moon. We're sending a manned mission back to the moon for reasons I don't know. I mean, most scientists say we know everything there is to know about the moon. Why we're going back there, I don't know, but we are. But 50 years ago today, Eugene Cernan got off the moon, got onto the capsule, and said, "See ya." They left a plaque, by the way, still up there. There's a lot of junk on the moon. There's like tons of just garbage sitting up there on the moon. Somebody called WM, get that taken care of. 31 minutes after the hour. Birthdays, forever known as Aunt B on the Andy Griffith Show. Frances Bavier, born in the state in 1902. Everybody loved Aunt B. I wish I had an Aunt B. In real life, Frances Bavier was known as a fairly difficult person to get along with. She didn't much care for her character. She saw herself as much more glamorous. She got her start in Broadway, but instead she ended up playing Aunt B. Now, she got Emmy Awards for it, but Andy Griffith and the other cast members admitted they had to walk on eggshells around Frances when they were shooting the Andy Griffith Show, and she admitted herself that she was not a particularly pleasant person during the filming of the Andy Griffith Show. She actually apologized to Andy Griffith a couple of years before she died for how difficult she was. When she died, in her will, she left $100,000 to a trust fund to the Siler City, North Carolina Police Department, and the interest in that trust fund provides the Christmas bonus every year for the police personnel. That's kind of cool. Frances Bavier, born 120 years ago today. Spike Jones, the great Spike Jones, born in the state in 1911. You just have to play the music. I can't explain Spike Jones to you. And yes, I like Spike Jones, born in the state in 1911, died in 1965 at the age of 53. And the great Charlie Rich, terribly underrated as a singer, as a performer, and as a songwriter. Behind Closed Doors, The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, Life Has Its Little Ups and Downs. Charlie Rich was born 90 years ago today. The album is no longer in print, but if you can find it, came out in the early 1970s. It's called The Fabulous Charlie Rich. It's one of the best country meets blues records you will ever hear in your life. Get a copy, get two, in case one breaks. The great Charlie Rich, born in the state in 1932. Going to take a break. Got an opinion from Mike Mad Dog Magnotti. Going to make you think. Trust me on that one. And then Anna Johnson joins me. She runs the Behavioral Health Unit for the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. It started with just her and Chief Adam Musgrove, and now there's 4 of them, and they're doing important work. My conversation with Anna when we come back. You're watching Wake Up in Anchi Valley on the NCW Life Channel. Hello, television family. Grab your cup of coffee each weekday morning and join me. I'm Dan Kuntz, the host of Wake Up in Anchi Valley. It's Wake Up in Anchi Valley. It's everything you need to start your day. We're live and we're local at 7 a.m. every weekday on the NCW Life Channel.
If you could live anywhere, where would it be? And what would it be like? With today's home values, this is the perfect time to sell and make those dreams real. When you work with a world-class agent at Coldwell Banker, you benefit from trusted guidance and our revolutionary Seller's Assurance Program to make your home sale more rewarding than ever. So it really is true. Your dreams don't have to be just dreams.
Hi, my car's making a funny noise.
Not a problem. We'll take care of you.
Global Car Care's technicians are ASE Master Techs and well-versed in the more refined methods of vehicular diagnostics.
Number 3 piston and rings have a slight loss of compression, down to 108 pounds. Your transmission is slipping. You're gonna need a service.
Looks like you all set.
These guys? They're good.
Oh, and your spare is flat.
Global Car Care, Wenatchee's top shop.
When you're craving Asian comfort food, order from Steam Panda. The best house-made dumplings, sushi, and ramen noodle pair with your favorite boba tea, beer, wine, and sake. Order now. Dine in, take out, stay warm, stay with Steam Panda.
Connect with us on Networked as we introduce you to the people and organizations who are leading innovation in the region. Get inspired, engaged, and networked right here on the NCW Life channel.
Hello, 3 tickets, please.
Oh, the Discovery Center is free to visit.
So you're telling me we could look at the fish for free?
Yep, that's free.
But how much is it to drive the speedboat?
Todo es gratis.
So you're telling me that we could go play on the playground?
Still free.
Damn, it's free.
Exactly. Gratis, gratis, gratis. The Discovery Center at Rocky Beach. Damn, it's free.
This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, for some time, I've criticized some Christians and a church or two for some of their stances and practices, and I've been rebuked by other believers who accuse me of being divisive, and I've been lectured that I should only be supportive and promote unity. I'm also told that it's unchristian to be critical. Well, I have to wonder if some of those people have ever read the Apostle Paul's letters in the New Testament or some of the Old Testament prophets. Not in any way that I'm comparing myself to them, God forbid. Oh, gosh. But I think you get my point. And Jesus, the guy we're all saying we're following, now, who is it that he criticized? This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
I believe we've been coming to Abby's for 56 years, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
56 years.
Remembering all the events as a family and a community that we spent at Abby's.
Excellent and delicious food at an affordable price. We're delighted that we live close enough to be able to be a frequent customer.
And we are.
And we are. In fact, we've got orders to bring home a giant pizza when we leave here tonight.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks. So bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
1989, I moved here in July. My dad farmed, my brother's still on the family farm. I worked for a dealer in Lewiston, Idaho. I was his general sales manager. My boss goes, I got a guy that may be ready for a store. We made one trip here, and that's how I ended up here. I'd never been here in my life, and I had no friends here. I have nothing, you know. I do now. I have a lot of friends here. I mean, this is my home. I love living here.
Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue, family owned and operated on North Wenatchee Avenue, right next to Hooked on Toys. Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue uses only fresh ingredients, handcrafted with love, including authentic Hawaiian barbecue and Japanese-style ramen noodle soups. And the bubble teas will keep you coming back for more. Enjoy the culinary tour of the Pacific Rim with Hawaiian barbecue lunches and combo plate classics, as well as ramen noodle soups. Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue. Enjoy their comfort food like you're one of the family.
My name is Anaisa Lemus, and I teach at John Newberry Elementary. I had a tooth in the front that was just always causing me problems. It was just happening so regularly. I went to go get a root canal done, and the root canal didn't help a whole lot because when it came back, both of my parents went to Dr. Davis's office. They really recommended him because he had done such a great job on their teeth. I went and really have had a really pleasant experience with him. He just made me feel really at ease with everything. He was really confident with what he was doing. He said, this is one of his favorite parts of his job, which really made it easier for me because, when you're really passionate about something, they're going to do a good job. As a teacher, my students, I'll tell them randomly sometimes, oh yeah, with my fake tooth, they're always so shocked. Like, what? It looks like your real tooth. And I'm really happy with the results now.
This is Dr. John Divis. Please call us today.
Welcome back to the program. We always like to profile success stories in the North Central Washington area, and whose kid knew the Chelan County Behavioral Health Unit has been a success story. It's a little over a year old, about 16 months old, launched in the summer of 2021 with Anna Johnson basically taking the civilian role in this, and Deputy Adam Musgrave from a law enforcement perspective, all of it folded in Chelan County. They're no longer in limbo. They are actually a part of the Chelan County Sheriff's Office, and they're doing good work, important work. And unfortunately, they're real busy, too. Anna Johnson is back to give us a little update on the BHU, which is an acronym for the Behavioral Health Unit. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, last time I had you on, it was you and Deputy Musgrove, you and Adam, to talk about how the Behavioral Health Unit was launched. There was a need for it. Why don't you, for the uninitiated, let's go back in time and talk about how the BHU even came to be.
Yeah, so previously I was working at an agency where we were doing something very similar to this, except we were more on a call-out basis. And so we started to realize the need to have more of an internal control. We proposed this to Chief Musgrove, and I was talking to him about, what are the needs, and essentially he talked to the commissioners, and after one meeting, they all approved that this was something that was a desperate need in the community, and here we are.
The need was definitely there. You said you were on a case-by-case call-out basis, but whose kid knew you were being called out every day, right?
Absolutely, multiple times a day.
And this is an alarming statistic that Anna is going to throw out your way. It is December as we tape this, obviously, so you've wrapped up the numbers for the month of November. And how many individual cases did you handle?
We ended up with 539 contacts for the month of November.
That is insane. That comes out to 10 a day, if not more.
Yeah.
Why? What's going on there?
I think partly it's been the buy-in from the patrol. I think it's been great to have mental health professionals embedded within law enforcement. I mean, they're asking questions. We're able to have those conversations of identifying mental health or substance use symptoms, really anything related to wellness. And so they're able to identify those symptoms or triggers and then make appropriate referrals because they have another resource such as a behavioral health unit.
So how, when somebody's out on patrol, how do they know that, okay, this is something I need to send on his way, in his way? How do they know that? Obviously, they're being trained to look for certain things?
Yeah, so we have been heavily embedded in their training, and even just riding with patrol, we'll have conversations about some of the individuals that we're frequently cycling through. We also have conversations about really anything related to diagnosis and essentially, what came first, the chicken or the egg. And that's something that we're constantly talking about, coming up with game plans as to how do you work with an individual with certain diagnoses. And so I think when they are able to show up on scene and have deeper conversations, realizing that what drove whatever call that was for that day, there's some underlying stress. Obviously, people are calling 911 not on their best days. And so just taking a step back and having a more compassionate approach, I would say, and then just saying, this isn't my role anymore, and being able to kind of pass that baton over to the behavioral health unit. And similar to law enforcement, we sign into service every day, and so that gives Rivercom and all of our partnering agencies from Douglas County, Wenatchee PD, East Wenatchee, and Chelan County Sheriffs the ability to look on their screen and see where one of us may be available. There could be three of us up in one single day, just being in either a patrol car or at the office waiting to kind of dispatch. So I think it allows for that room to call on someone who can help.
It's a twofold thing. Number one, the people who are in mental health crisis are going to get the help they need instead of just tossing them in jail and closing the deal. They're going to get professional help. And it also frees up the individual law enforcement personnel to actually work on more on things that are more pertinent to law enforcement as opposed to a mental health problem, correct?
Yeah, correct. And there are times that number, that 539 contacts, is not only from what we call reactive calls, so calls in progress, but they're also proactive efforts on our end. So there will be times where someone may go to the hospital, or we've been able to de-escalate them or talk them out of whatever situation and kind of come up with a plan. And so those proactive approaches, as we call them, are follow-up calls on our end, making sure that, if we know that they have an identified provider, that we're calling them and making sure that they can get in to see them, or if we know their medications are not at the therapeutic level that they think they need to be, or maybe they're not taking their meds, that somebody is there to support them along the way.
And the follow-up thing is critically important. It helps, does it not? I mean, absolutely. And the whole point is to have these individuals get out of the 911 system and get really the help that they need. Every time we get called out, it's what ended up with us being here. And so it's almost working backwards as to where the barriers happen and what went essentially wrong in order to help them get back to their recovery and success. So what has changed since Anna and Deputy Musgrove, Chief Musgrove, did when they visited me in September of last year? First of all, you were a quasi law enforcement agency. Now you are actually under the umbrella of the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. So that has changed, right?
Yeah, correct.
And the other thing is that you got money. You got money funded to bring in more Anna Johnsons, right?
Yeah, so we have expanded. I think the last time I was here, it was just me as a clinician, and now we have 3 additional people besides myself. We are also now 7 days a week. We are not 24 hours yet. That is one of our goals in the future, but law enforcement and first responders have coverage every single day of the week. They have coverage on the weekends, and when they don't, there's a very particular process of how to access resources when we're not available so that they also get the help and support that they need to help the community.
So that takes a little bit of burden off of you. You were a solo practitioner. Now you have 3 other people, professionals.
Yeah.
Where did you find the 3 people to come in and fill out the staff at the BHU?
A lot of them have been local, so they've been through other agencies doing either some sort of social service role, and so it's been just a great fit. I think what distinguishes us is that we go through some of the same hiring requirements as law enforcement, so it's a little bit different from your typical mental health professional in a community-based setting, just because we are exposed to a lot more critical and potentially dangerous situations. So it takes a special clinician or individual to want to work in this field because it's just a lot more fast-paced.
When you go on a call, okay, we need to bring in the BHU on this particular deal, you don't go in alone, right? You're always going in with somebody from the Chelan County Sheriff's Office just for that insurance purposes.
Yeah, if it's an initial call and we know that there's weapons or maybe there's a history of violence, and I think that's the beauty of the partnership is that we can access our records to see if we've had contact with an individual in the past, and we keep a summary of things that would be pertinent for us to know, such as medications providers, family supports, and the other side is the law enforcement side and being able to see what kind of involvements, if there's anybody that is a good support person for this individual. So I think that's the beauty of having both of us in a co-response, is being able to determine, what level of safety we need to take. So yeah, for initial calls, most likely we have a law enforcement officer go with us, and then if it's deemed safe, we're able to say, hey, we're okay. Or in follow-ups, we like to have, we don't necessarily call law enforcement if we've already passed that threshold.
I know this is going to sound like a stupid question, but there are no stupid questions. Is it working?
Absolutely.
I mean, in the year and a half or so since you launched, it's a success story.
Absolutely. I think that speaks to just the buy-in, like our numbers itself. I think our continued grant funders giving us, we've been applying for grants and just the success of having the money in return. We've also had other agencies within Washington State contact us to see what we're doing and, how do you get this started? What have you guys learned? What have been your successes, your challenges, and just trying to model something very similar to Chelan County. So I think that in itself speaks for itself. And most recently we had Athens, Clark, Georgia coming out. They came out and shouted us for a little bit and kind of had a talk session about their program and how to implement some of the things that we're doing here in Chelan County.
So you're under the umbrella of the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. What about other local law enforcement agencies, say Wenatchee Police or East Wenatchee Police or Douglas County Sheriff? Have they reached out to you? Is this eventually, can you see this as a region-wide partnership with funding from all of those agencies? So when a Wenatchee police officer goes out on a call and needs to call in BHU, they can do it with the authority that they have?
Yeah, so they're all welcome to use our services, our help, our assistance. The goal is, and all of the leadership from all the agencies are on the same page as far as wanting to regionalize this. Recently we rode with Douglas County Sheriff's Office. They've welcomed us to come in, and we are constantly being called out for East Wenatchee, and we go to shift change for Wenatchee PD in the evening. So it's just having that constant communication and open and transparency with them of, hey, we're here for you, and whatever we can do to assist the community and assist them in serving, that's what we're here for.
Is that the next step, you think?
That is definitely the next step. Okay. Yeah, it's one of the things that we always talk about is obviously not being grant funded for the rest of our entirety. I definitely don't think that grant funding is going to go away based on the trends of society these days. But I think in the long run, our goals is to have something where it's regionalized, where it's here to stay, because that's what we're being asked.
Give me a success story. Give me somebody who fell under the umbrella of the BHU and got the necessary help that they needed instead of just getting their butt tossed in jail. Give me an idea of how this of a success story.
I think one of the most critical ones that we've had recently is just a few weeks ago. We had a barricaded subject, and we were being called out by a law enforcement agency, and through the BHU we were able to find out who the social worker was. We had found out a lot of pertinent information related to mental health, substance use, and realized that they had relapsed and just escalated the situation. And it was a very critical moment because this person was barricaded with a knife. And so the response from law enforcement obviously is to avoid any, more escalation than possible. And so through the work of the BHU, they were actually able to call out this individual out of their standoff and get them to the hospital with the support that they needed, and then actually transferred back to their county of origin, which was not in Chelan County, and just have all of those I think it was critical just to have all those communications and pieces in line to be able just to de-escalate this situation that could potentially have ended up terrible.
And this doubles back to what you're talking about being under the umbrella of a law enforcement agencies. Under the situation, because you were with the Chelan County Sheriff's Office, you had access to the database. Mm-hmm. You knew what kind of medications this person was taking, their criminal background, all that stuff that information you may not have gotten if you weren't affiliated with the Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, and a lot of times it takes a lot of communication with other outside agencies as well. So just calling the behavioral health resources that we have in the area, that allows us to have that kind of free communication, especially in critical incidents like this. We were able to call a couple of the hospitals and clinics around just to see if they had any contact with this certain individual, and just piecing again the puzzles backwards as to how did we end up here today. So it's great.
This is the second holiday season, I guess, Christmas season, if you will, since the BHU fired up. Are you busier this time of the year because it's the holidays? Do you see that?
We do see that. We get a lot of individuals with, obviously, this time of day, you go to work. Some people go to work in the darkness and they come home in the darkness. So you get that seasonal affective disorder that, just people being able to not have as much light affects their serotonin levels. And so we see some of that. We also see an increase in substance use. Some of the things that certain substances can do is elevate your heat, and so using substances to continue to stay warm is something that we've seen or been told from other individuals as to using substances. So our numbers continue to be pretty accurate to the trend that we're currently having.
We'll close it out with this. Again, we're talking to Anna Johnson, who's the manager of the Behavioral Health Unit. What's a good day in Miss Johnson's world when you're done for the day and you actually maybe get a day off or two? What's a good day for you in your line of work?
I think a good day is when we all can go home. Yeah, because you never know what you're walking into, and just knowing that you got the person the help that they needed, or at least started in the right direction, and that we can all go home at the end of the day.
Are you funded for yourself and your 3 other people through 2023? Is that locked in from a budgetary standpoint?
It is locked in. Some of our grants are through June, and so there will be a little bit of a gap in just trying to figure out the next steps, but we do have funding for 2023.
Anna Johnson from the Behavioral Health Unit. It started out small. It's getting bigger. Obviously, the need is there. Can you come back in a few months and give me another update?
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you.
And happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Working with August Edge Real Estate, both sellers and buyers feel confident knowing they are in the hands of award-winning professionals. August Edge offers a 2% listing commission, which includes above-standard service and technology.
We offer high-tech 3D imagery, drone photos, local North Central Washington TV ads, and impressive smart flyer installed at your listing. The August Edge website also hosts your home with an interactive featured listing page.
August Edge is professional, personable, and preferable.
The Culinary Apple is your stop for custom gift boxes with treats for everyone on your list. How about a locally grown, locally made gift box with apples, fudge, and cinnamon glazed nuts? Let the Culinary Apple help you put together the perfect gift for this holiday season.
Come to Willow and see our wonderful selection of home decor, fragrances, beautiful jewelry, and adorable baby items and clothing. So much to choose from and an experience that is memorable and inviting. It's all here in the heart of Chelan.
Welcome to Bubbly by Cake Chick, where friends come to relax and reconnect. Enjoy delicious lunches, decadent desserts, classic champagne, and bourbon tastings. Make every day an occasion when you join friends at Bubbly by Cake Chick on Riverside Drive in Wenatchee.
It's the NCW Life Community Calendar, a presentation of Merry Maids. Music Theater of Wenatchee's annual Christmas production is All Is Calm, the Christmas Truce of 1914. This one-act a cappella musical tells the story of how a German soldier emerged from the trenches on Christmas Eve and sang O Tannenbaum, triggering a reaction that brought soldiers out from both sides to share in the Christmas spirit. Performances are December 15th through the 17th at the Riverside Playhouse. Tickets can be purchased at numericapac.org.
Already starting to see the skies clear out a little bit, certainly to the north of us and to the west of us. That weak system that slid through the area overnight gave us a little bit of light snow. It was already beginning to leave, although you folks out in the Columbia Basin, you're going to get a little dusting of snow before it continues to move to the east, and they just don't know what to make of for the middle of next week. There's 2 scenarios that are out there, and the computers can't seem to agree. We could either have really cold, really dry air by the middle of next week, by this time next week, or we could be in for some significant snow. Don't know. We'll find out together come tomorrow when we'll have a more accurate idea of what we're dealing with. In the meantime, I can give you a pretty good idea of the next 4 or 5 days from Apple Valley Honda and the National Weather Service. Your forecast looks something like this. We're already starting to warm up. We're at 27 now, and we're going to get about 31 or so for the afternoon high. The fog and the clouds will burn off. The sun will get the job done, so not a bad day at all. 18 for the overnight low. Now, the one thing you're going to notice is that these overnight lows and these afternoon highs are actually quite milder compared to what they were originally anticipating with that Arctic air coming in. Not going to be quite as cold, not going to last quite as long, although we're still going to cool down a couple of degrees each day, not only for the afternoon high, but for the overnight low, as you can see. And we'll be done with the sun by Saturday. Looks like it's going to be pretty cloudy with some light snow possible this weekend. And that is it for us. Have yourself a great Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.